Hello, my name's Rob and I'm from Team Hope. In my hometown of Adelaide there's a place called Brownhill Creek Reserve, and it's in the suburb of Mitcham, and an actual creek runs through the reserve down through the suburbs. But you can see beyond the public part on the uphill side, on the eastern side, there's a big reserve, and it's quite almost country in its feel. I had a friend at that time, his name was Mac, and he was an older guy. He was the mentor of our youth group. We all loved Mac. He was kind, he was caring, he was funny. He was a great preacher. I could still remember one of his favourite lines was, some people in life are big fat fakes. Are you a big fat fake? And we'd all sit there, as he looked at us. And Mac used to have barbecues up at Brownhill Creek Reserve, the eastern side where it's less people. He actually had a big hot plate buried in the ground next to a bush up there, and we loved going on Mac's barbecues up to Brownhill Creek Reserve. They were something, to get invited to that was just great. I'm going to change lanes for a minute, but we're going to come back to Mac and Brownhill Creek shortly. Some people in life are really good at fixing things, not just mechanical things, but situations. They can look at a system or a building, how that's operating, or a staff team or a family, and they can see what's wrong straight away and they can fix it. They're really good at it. And when they fix it, it's just such a relief, and they know how to do it. Now, in the workplace, we need fixers. We need them in our houses. We need them in relationships. We need them in finance. We need them in sports teams. A lot of coaches, that's what they're good at, fixing things. Fixers are incredibly valuable people, and I value them very deeply. However, some things in life are beyond fixing. A tragedy or a disaster can strike. I'm talking about the death of a loved one. You can't fix that. Or homes lost to fire or flood. I've seen a lot of that. Loss of life savings because of a scam or a bad investment. Lose a job that you're never going to get back again. You can't fix it. Divorce, custody battles, car accidents, crime victims, family breakdown. You can't fix the hurt these type of things bring. It's simply too great, and the circumstances have changed, and you can't get the circumstances back again. The best fixers in the world can't help us. My situation in my life is that I encountered a very, very bad circumstance. And I can't give you the details because there were other people involved and for their privacy, and I think maybe for mine too. But this situation was so bad I was never going to be the same again. I was lied to, I was deceived, I was ripped off, I was betrayed, I was humiliated and degraded, had deeply personal things stolen from my life, all by people who claim to be friends. My life had changed forever. Any type of rebuilding, it was never going to be the same again because I'd lost things that were never coming back. But any rebuilding was going to take years. I shut myself off from the world. Talking to people was just too complicated for me. They'd ask me how I was going, I didn't want to say. I even cut myself off from my friends. I was so humiliated and embarrassed that I started to get depressed, and I'd lost all confidence. I just wanted to be alone. One day when I was at the lowest point, someone knocked on my door. It was the last thing I needed, so I ignored it. They kept knocking. So in exasperation, I went to the door. It was Mac. Oh boy. Last thing I want to do was to talk to him. He knew what had happened. It seemed like everybody knew. He just invited himself in. He was pretty good at that. told me he hadn't seen me around for a while. I told him I wasn't doing so well. He told me I can see that. So I just said, I'm not coping, Mac. I don't want to talk with anyone. I don't want to be with anyone. I just wanted to be left alone. I was embarrassed. I was hurt. I was humiliated. He listened to me with an expression of sincere compassion, asked gentle, probing questions. His face was a picture of the deepest sympathy. After I'd explained my plight, I asked him if he understood my need to be alone. He said he understood completely. Then he grabbed me by my shirt front and hauled me out of the front door. Grab your keys, he said to me. We're going to have a barbecue at Brown Hill Creek. Some of the mob are going to be there. I thought, oh no, I don't need this. I protested, but I knew Mac, he wasn't going to back down. We were going on a barbecue whether I liked it or not. And the thing is, I had such an immense respect for him that I went along for the ride. We ended up going up to the back part of the reserve and finding his buried barbecue plate. And had a barbecue. I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't have gone with him that day. The barbecue was a turning point in my life. I don't know, maybe I would have become a hermit. When I got to the barbecue, there weren't as many people as I expected, and I realised afterwards that Mac had hand-picked them all. There was 4 or 5. These people were really good friends of all of us. They had some life experience and they listened while I talked. And I'd been a few tears. I poured out my heart and they listened with genuine love and respect. Mac didn't bring a remedy that day. There was no remedy to bring. He knew he couldn't fix the situation, but what he did bring was healing. When we're faced with unfixable situations, we just want things to go back to normal, the way things used to be. But when things are taken from our lives and are never going to come back again, we desperately want to return to the way they were, but they can't. Sometimes it's just not possible. I was so bruised I didn't know what I could do. Do you remember that prayer? I think it was St. Francis said it. Lord, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I was certainly going to need courage for the days ahead. But I felt so severely wounded, it was like I had nothing left in the tank. Once you've accepted that you can't change the circumstances, the first step in moving on is healing. Nobody's going to be able to fix it for you. You don't need fixing because it will never work. You need healing. Now, I have learned that you may not be able to change circumstances, but you can change your response to them. Years ago when I was studying for my counselling degree, I never forget this. I've still got the book, a comment that a mother made in this book. Her son had died and her comment was this: the goal is not to find an answer, the goal is to learn to live without one. And to do that, you need healing. Healing arising from a deep and dreadful pain, an awful circumstance, can be incredibly hard, but it's crucial because after healing, the ability to adapt unfolds. I've met many people in my life who are left wounded for life because they suffered a deep trauma that they could never get past. They never seem to be able to live up to their potential. Now, I don't condemn such people, no. I really feel a compassion for them. But if I've learned one thing from my journey, it's this: don't try and go alone. Don't do what I did, I just want to be alone. Don't try to reach out or let someone reach in. I was very fortunate to have someone like Mac. I love that guy. He was just a really good friend. We all loved him. He cared about us. He was good to us, never ripped us off, never did the wrong thing to us. So I want to encourage you, if you're watching this and you know exactly what I'm talking about, you've got a situation that you can't cope with, it can't be fixed, it can't be changed. Well, I want to encourage you not to cut yourself off from friends like I did. I get that. But the bottom line is, you're going to need help in the days ahead. Matt brought a love and support back into my life through a whole group of people who cared about me. He connected the pain I was going through to the heart of God. And sometimes we think that church is, not for us, it's not relevant. But I'll tell you what, King of the broken hearts with Jesus. If you don't have anyone in your life like Mac, if you're stuck on your own, if you're hearing me talk, you think, well, I wish I did have friends, someone who could help me, so I'm not going through this alone, then I want to encourage you to do something that will require courage. Reach out. There are some really good support groups that are geared toward a whole range of difficult circumstances that we might go through. I just encourage you to make sure that those organisations have value base that reflect where you come from. Personally, I can only speak for one organisation that I know that has the potential to help us get through really hard times. That organisation helped me. It changed my life. It's the church. And maybe you feel, well, church is not for me. I'm not the church type. I get that. Maybe if you feel, the formalised robes and that sort of thing, you just can't, it doesn't feel relevant to you. Not all churches are like that. What I'm wearing now is what I wear when I preach. The church where I'm located, everyone's welcome. You don't have to dress up, just be yourself. Some people dress up, some people. But the thing that we try so hard to do is to care. Perhaps the church, that's a broad term, isn't it? But perhaps it's different to how you think it is. If you're in a hard place, isn't it worth a shot? At Team Hope, we have two basic principles that we go to when it comes to hope. Always hope for the right thing and never hope alone. When I look back over my life, I've come to realise that I always look for two qualities in someone when I need help. And those qualities are someone who is able to have some level of understanding to what I'm going through. Now, pain's very personal. No one's going to completely understand it. But they have some level of understanding. And the other thing I look for is someone who genuinely cares about me. Who knows? Maybe you'll find such a person in the church. It's worth a shot, isn't it? Have a think about these things. My name's Rob, and I'm from Team Hope.